All right, today we're going to continue on with volume. So the first part of the notes is just review of your prisms, cylinders, pyramids, and cones, and then we're going to add in spheres today. So volume of a prism we discussed is area of the base times the height. So the whole area of the bottom shape times the height. And volume of a cylinder is pi r squared times the height. And when we're talking about height, we're talking about the height of the prism. So how far apart are the bases? So when I look at example 1, I see that this is a rectangle prism. The base is a rectangle, so if I draw that off to the side, then I can find the area of that base. It's just 5 times 2, which is 10. So the volume of this prism is the area of the base times the height, so 10 times 3, because that's how far apart the bases are, which is 30 inches cubed. So that's volume of a prism. So looking at the next one, it tells you what the area of the base is. So when I look at the formula, area of the base times the height, the area of the base is 17.3 times the height, which is 6.4. And when I multiply that together, we get 110.7 centimeters cubed. Now part C, this one is a triangle prism. So the base here is this triangle out front. It's just sitting on its side, so we're going to draw it off to the side. To find the area of a triangle, we take the base times the height of the triangle, so 10 times 12 is 120, and we divide it by 2. So the area of that base, that triangle base, is 60. So volume is area of the base times the height, so the area of the triangle times how far apart are those triangles? Well, they're 11. So 60 times 11 is 660 centimeters cubed. Okay, looking at part D, this one is the cylinder, so pi r squared h. So pi, now it gives you the diameter. It gives you from one end of the circle all the way to the other. So we want half of that. So half of 9 is 4.5 times the height. So how far apart are the circles? Well, they're 5. So 4.5 times 4.5 times 5 times pi gives us 318.1, if I round to the tenths place, inches cubed. So last week we also covered pyramids and cones. So pyramids and cones are very similar to our prisms and cylinders. It's just we have to divide by 3. So the volume of a pyramid is area of the base times the height divided by 3. Volume of a cone is pi r squared h divided by 3. So in other words, it's the prism divided by 3 and it's the cylinder divided by 3. So let's look at part A. Again, we look at the base. The base here is this rectangle at the bottom. So we've got the area of a rectangle is 9.5 times 8, which is 76. So to find the volume of this pyramid, we're going to take the area of the base times the height divided by 3. So that's going to be 76 times the height, which is 9, divided by 3. And when I multiply 76 times 9 and I divide by 3, we get 228 centimeters cubed. All right, now we're on the cone. So volume of a cone is pi r squared, so 9 squared, times the height. Well, the problem is that the height would be the straight up and down line, but it gives us the slanted one. So we've talked about this. Whenever we're missing a piece that we need, we're going to do Pythagorean theorem. So the box points to your C number. So if I think about Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we're going to have 9 squared plus whatever our height is squared equals 19 squared. So 81 plus h squared equals 361. Subtract your 81 from both sides, we get h squared equals 280, and then we take the square root of both sides. Now this is going to give me a height of 16.73. Now I know we round to the tenths place, but when I'm doing measurements inside of my formula, so I'm doing I have to find something that I'm going to use, I try to keep it at least to the hundredths place. So I'm going to use 16.73 for my height divided by 3. So 9 times 9 times 16.73 times pi equals, and then divided by 3. And that gives me a total of 1,419.1 feet cubed. Now notice my final answer is rounded to the tenths place. All right, that takes us to our very last shape. All right, so this is the new part for today. So spheres have a little bit different formula, but it looks kind of like a cylinder. So the formula for cylinder is, for sphere is 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. So a little bit more going on. 4 times pi times the radius cubed divided by 3. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. All right, so in part A, we're going to have 4 pi. The radius is 6 cubed divided by 3. So when I put this in my calculator, I'd start with the radius. So I go 6 times 6 times 6 times 4 times pi, and I push the equals button, and then I divide by 3. So when you do that, you're going to get 1,377.8 centimeters cubed. Again, we're going to round our final answer to the tenths place, 1 decimal place. All right, part B. Now this one gives us the diameter, but we want the radius. So 22 divided by 2 tells us the radius is 11. So 4 pi, the radius is 11 cubed, divided by 3. So again, we start with the radius. So 11 times 11 times 11 times 4 times pi divided by 3. And when I do that, I'm going to get 5,575.3 feet cubed. All right, last example. Now this one is the hemisphere, so it's half of a sphere. We're going to start just by getting the sphere volume. So again, that's 4 pi, our radius cubed divided by 3. So I'm going to go 2.8 times 2.8 times 2.8 times 4 times pi equals, and then I'm going to divide by 3. And then I'm going to do one more step because I only want half of this sphere. Without clearing my calculator, I'm going to do divided by 2. And that gives me 405.976. Now I want to round to the tenths place. So if I look to the next number, that 7 makes that 9 round up. Well, a 9 rounded up becomes a 10, which means it's going to change my whole number to 46 centimeters cubed, or 46.0 centimeters cubed. All right, so that covers all of our shapes for volume. You do have a Google form. It's only 15 questions. So go ahead and knock that out. If you do write your work on a separate piece of paper, which I really hope you do, please go ahead and upload it to Classroom so I can go ahead and double check that. So if you have any questions, reach out. Thanks.